Good morning. Day 11 of the lockdown in New Zealand. The complete lockdown of New Zealand. It's been pretty tough, hasn't it? Just reading all the news, the businesses that have had to shut down, all the staff. I've applied for that special wage subsidy for my staff, but nothing's arrived yet, and I did that over a week ago. I guess they've just got hundreds of thousands to get through. Today, being a Sunday, I'm just doing a bit of gardening and odd jobs around the place that need doing. There's shitloads that needs doing. The chickens are very happy. I haven't checked if they laid any eggs, but I had a look at them today and they're all burrowing down and having a little rest in the sun. Got Rio here wandering around the table. One of the subscribers yesterday asked for me to talk about America, the United States. And I replied to him that I could describe the United States' response to the COVID-19 epidemic with one word. I won't repeat that word now. You might have seen it in the comments. Yeah, I've been watching quite a lot of news out of the States. I don't really watch CNN or Fox, the mainstream stuff. They tend to sort of over-dramatise everything. One thing I have noticed, and everyone should stop doing this, every country should stop saying positive test numbers, because it's completely irrelevant. They could leave them there, but they should just actually say times 10 or times 20, because that's what the real number will be. Some countries are just doing minimal testing, like the States. It's just rubbish. Now, I think the United States, they're going through all sorts of... They haven't got any masks, so they start propaganda. I call it propaganda. So the medical officials and, not so much the medical officials, more the government, the politicians, they start saying, masks are ineffective. Why would you want to wear a mask? They're even telling their frontline nurses not to wear a mask because it might create a bit of anxiety to the patient seeing you in a mask. But the reason they're doing that is because they haven't got any. There's a real shortage. They're trying to get things going now, but it's all too late. They've had since January to get all this organised, and they haven't got it organised. So what do? They blame China. They blame China on hiding the information originally, and then the World Health Organization saying that January the 15th, they said that there's no evidence that this virus can spread person to person. Go figure. Now that's a whole different story, the World Health Organization. I might talk about that tomorrow, because there's some interesting stuff coming out of that in my research. Yeah, so when they put out misinformation saying that masks don't work, it's because there isn't any. So they don't want people panicking, saying, we've got to get the mask, I've spoken to people who say, masks can be ineffective. They don't stop you getting the virus. But, when I look at Asian countries, like Taiwan, it's doing really well. And, Asian countries in general, they've always worn masks, even when there wasn't a virus. And I believe, it's better than no protection at all. Might not be 100% effective, but who cares? It's better than nothing. It's better than walking around with your mouth open, breathing in the breath or the aerosol or a droplet coming through the air at you. I'd rather have that on than not. So anyway, that's my opinion on masks. But there's a real shortage in the States of PPE, the whole gamut, the personal protection equipment. And now they're saying, wear anything around your mouth. Just get a bandana. Anything's better than nothing. So they're kind of swinging back towards it. Anyway, that got me when I was researching masks and who didn't have them, I came across this video. And I don't like, sensationalising stuff, but this video, it's been going viral on Twitter, and I've actually, I saw it once before actually, another journalist site. It's of a Chinese lady living in America, buying up hundreds of thousands of masks. Now I wanted to fact check all this before I show you this, so I did fact check it, and it's actually, the video she did, she's just videoing herself, the video she did was back in late January. She is what's called a Daigo. Now every country in the world has Daigos. There's nothing illegal about it. It's a little bit unusual. Daigous, what they do is they have an online presence in China. I forget the name, Taibao or something like that. It's like a Trade Me or China's version of eBay, and they sell things to Chinese people, Chinese citizens, that are very expensive in China and very hard to get. Like baby's milk is very hard. Good quality baby's milk is hard to get in China, and since the asbestos problem a few years ago, they just don't trust any Chinese products around baby formula. So you'll see in China, residents of Shenzhen, which is near Hong Kong, they'll catch the train into Hong Kong, buy up large all the baby formula from the supermarket and take it back with them. Now Hong Kong's put restrictions on that because they were running out, so it's like four tins maximum and things like that. So Daigous, it's nothing illegal, they just buy it. So in New Zealand we've got Daigous, they'll go around buying baby formula, they'll have an online presence in China and they'll ship it back to China in minimal orders, so 2 tins only. That then it's like a gift, get no tax to pay in China, no customs duty or anything like that, just goes straight through, and they make huge profits. Well, this particular person in Florida in the United States in late January, it just goes to show you what a Daigo actually does. In this case, it's she admits it's immoral what she's doing, because she says in the video she feels like a thief. So anyway, let's watch the video now.
3M 的还有40个装的了，太开心了！拖着房车也不忘找口罩，好好摆还能多装点儿，耶，超开心，超开心！本来我们去就是一般找口罩都去那个卖油漆的那个地方找，然后我们去了另外一个地方找，然后就找到了，太开心了！还有呢，再去搬一下。在城市外面的人就是比较 nice. Thank you so much. You're so kind. 他们还不知道限购，赶紧买单走人。出汗了，吓的，满满的一车，这回都扫光了，这回真没了。哎，这能看着我的汗，老热了。紧张兮兮的，像做贼似的感觉。这边的人还不知道，现在是我在佛罗里达的中部开了1个半小时，然后可能华人比较少，他们还不知道口罩的事儿呢。又一次成功结账，心里太舒服了。又来一车。帮妈妈装呢，卡车装不下了，只能移过来。
Okay, what do you reckon? Now, I shortened it a little bit. She does go on. It goes on way further, showing how much they managed to load into their truck before they go home. But I thought that's enough. That's to see enough. Now, this is not a kick at Chinese people, because when that video went viral on Twitter back in, I think it went viral late February, she has been castigated so badly by Chinese nationals in China for bringing disreputation on China, making China look bad, and it's got so bad that she's been putting pleas on air to leave her alone and saying how sorry she is and all this sort of stuff. And I've seen a couple of those videos, but you can take it for what it is. I don't think she is that sorry, that's her business. But turns out she was making $250,000 a year doing this little business. And so it's the immoral fact, that there was a case in Sydney yesterday where a guy filmed a husband and wife in Coles supermarket, in one of the Coles supermarkets in Sydney, in the suburbs, and they had 6 trolleys loaded up with baby formula. Yeah. So they were obviously Daigous, and Coles didn't seem to care, but it wiped the shelf out, and people were complaining later that they couldn't get any baby formula for their own kids. So a lot of the times of the supermarkets have got a bit too take on board with this. You know, they should be actually putting restrictions on, like they've done in New Zealand now with the panic buying. They've put a few restrictions in place. But anyway, that's another thing. So getting back to the States, this is how ridiculous they're treating it and how late they are to the party with the lockdowns. But it's moving really fast. When I checked on this morning, there were 9 states in America that still did not have a lockdown. And when President Trump was asked about this, why, he said, well, I'm leaving it, he's not doing anything federally, I'm leaving it up to the state governors to decide. And he said, those states aren't in any jeopardy. Well, I checked, all those states had cases, not huge numbers, but it was pretty obvious they got cases and they've got community spread, so they should be locking down now before it's too late. So it's a bit of a lax attitude. Those 9 states were, what were they, Utah, Wyoming, they're all sort of Midwest states, Wyoming, Oklahoma, Arkansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, South Carolina, Iowa, those sort of places. I just checked now, just before doing this video, and it's only 5 states now, so 4 have gone into complete lockdown since. Another big concern over there, the governor of Florida said church services are still fine, they're still fine to attend, no social distancing. There's a couple of states, Florida's one of them, who claim golf clubs are essential. Golf courses are essential, so people are allowed to go and play golf. I don't know if there's any rules around it, whether you've got to play by yourself. Anyone play golf with me, there'll be plenty of distancing because I'm usually over the other fairway. So you wouldn't have to come near me, apart from maybe when we finally get to the putting green. Yeah, I'm pretty useless at golf. So my biggest concern about the States is that the United States has the biggest prison population in the world. 2.3 million prisoners. And it won't go into the politics of that, but this is what happens when you have private prisons. Most of the prisons over there are private, and so there's a lot of money to be made. So a lot of lobbying to done. So people who own prisons want more rules, don't they? You know, so they don't like a laxing of the rules. They loved, you know, private prison owners loved Bill Clinton, you know, because he brought in the 3 strikes and you're out rule. So 3 convictions for possession of cannabis, you got life. You know, they love that. Get a prisoner for life. So all the money they get. But with 2.3 million, they're going to be, you know, prisons are going to be rife for this outbreak. And living in close quarters like that, there's not much you can do about it. I see in the UK they've just released 2,000 prisoners early. They were due for release soon, so got them out early because they're not great people. But they didn't release Julian Assange. No, even though he's only on remand. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah. Oh, let's talk about New York. New York is the real epicentre of the United States. Last night when I checked, they had just under 3,000 deaths in New York. I looked again this morning, it's up to 3,500 and something. So it's going up really, really dramatically. I can easily see the United States, the way things are going, because they believe they're still 2 to 3 weeks, depending on what state you live in. But even New York, which is the epicentre, they still believe they're 2 weeks away from reaching the peak. So, the numbers are just going to be astronomical. And I don't know if you've seen any of the footage of the hospitals over there. It's just unbelievable and crazy. You know, they built that little field hospital in Central Park across the road from one of the hospitals, with its Sinai Hospital. And it's just a tent city type of place, but they've got ICU set up in there and patients in there already. It's 2/3 full already. Yeah. So the biggest problem they're going to have is, you know, the amount of beds, the amount of ICU, the amount of ventilators. There's going to be so much they can accommodate, so they're going to have to start making some tough calls. Countries that didn't do lockdowns but are doing really well was Japan. But now they're saying Japan is about to take off and that Tokyo will be the next New York. So that's not looking good. I mean, they didn't seem to have their social distancing going on, which is hard to do in Tokyo. It's 35 million people in Tokyo. My daughter and I were there a couple of years ago. It's a humongous city. It would just be impossible to do social distancing. Australia's doing really, really well. Australia, the curve, just on the last 4 or 5 days of figures, the curve has started to come down a bit. So I want to keep an eye on that. Doing very, very well. Now, they've got big cities too, Melbourne and Sydney. They're going to be the two centres to watch out for. They've still got some weird rules. Hairdressers are still open. Go figure. Australia, hairdressing is still allowed. Someone really close to you cutting your hair. But so New Zealand, Australia, Taiwan, doing very, very well. The Philippines, President Duterte, or whatever his name is, Duterte, he's given the police permission to shoot people. Not if you've got the virus, but if you're out and about and not locked down, not locking yourself down and out and about, they've got permission to shoot you on the street. That's typical of him. Not much news coming out of North Korea. It's been a few weeks now since they shot their first case. Russia's getting into a bit of trouble now. Putin's getting a lot of blame for it, but Moscow is just taking off. Again, it's always the big cities, the worst, where they sort of live close to each other, and apartment buildings, with shared ventilation. That's always going to be a hassle and always going to be a problem, which makes me believe it is a bit more aerosol than they're telling us. I mean, why would the ships, these cruise ships, get so many cases? Because they're in a confined space. Being in a cabin on a ship, you might as well be in an aeroplane. They're all sharing the same air. So if it's not aerosol, how are they getting sick in different cabins if they're not coming out? So that's another thing. It's definitely aerosol. I mean, they are saying now you can catch it just through breathing and talking to somebody. Another good reason why you should always be wearing a mask, if you can get them. They're so hard to get, like gold, the masks. Interesting with America, we were talking before, Putin sent America a whole plane load of something, I can't remember what it was, PPE or medical equipment, something. And of course all the journalists, especially the CNN journalists, aren't you just bowing down to Russian propaganda? And he goes, it's free, I'll take it. He said, I don't care whether it's propaganda or what they make out of it. It was free, they offered it to us, I accepted. So, but the Russians will milk it. The Russian people now will think that, we're bailing America out, the most powerful country in the world. Look how good we are. Yeah, who gives a shit? We're talking about people's lives here. So, yeah, I think that's about it. We're still only sitting on 22 subscribers. Come on, I want to get up to 30 at least. If you're a subscriber, you can ask a question. But anyway, put something down in the comments if you want to talk about anything, and I'll try and do a bit of research on it at night. Usually when I'm waiting for these videos to load up, I can sit there on my laptop and do a bit of research. And so I hope that's a bit of information for you, a little bit of a picture of the world at the moment, especially the United States, which is now the new epicentre. No work tomorrow. I'm going to take an extra day off because I've got no pork, and at the moment Tuesday is going to be my big day, so I'll have to get on the phone and do some orders, but I won't be going in. So we'll do another video tomorrow. I might touch on the World Health Organization tomorrow. Got some interesting stuff. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow.